We are starting week 3 of our Knotty quilt along. I'm working on the large throw size. It's 80 by 80. It'll basically look like this when we're done. Week 1, we did all of the cutting. Week 2, we made our half square triangles. Week 3, we're gonna make some more half square triangles, but we're gonna be adding another little special thing to it. We're gonna be making something called half quarter square triangles. So same as last week, we're gonna start by making our diagonal lines. We're gonna sew 2 lines, 1/4 inch on our diagonal lines. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna cut across, and then we're gonna cut on our diagonal lines. Okay, once we have them all cut apart, then we're going to press them open just like we did with our half square triangles, and we're gonna trim them to 6 inches. Once you have it trimmed down to the right size, you're gonna look at the 3rd color that's in that particular block. So this is a B, C, E block. So I'm gonna get my E 6-inch square, and it's hard to see because this is a dark color, but you're gonna draw a diagonal line on the E block. And this diagonal line is going to cross this diagonal line. So we're gonna place it so where your half square triangle line is going this way, but the line that you draw is gonna cross that line. And then lay it right sides together, and then you can pin it here. And we're gonna basically make another half square triangle. So you're gonna sew 1/4 inch on either side of this line here. Then cut it apart and press your seams just like a normal half square triangle, and then come back and I'm going to show you how to square these up. All right, here's how we trim these half quarter square triangles. We can't trim it just along the 45-degree line like we did with our half square triangles, because if we put the 45-degree line anywhere along here, we may not have a perfect square because we have these 2 triangles right here. So what we have to do is use that 45-degree line, but whatever we're gonna trim our total block to, we want that to be up here in the corner. So for instance, okay, I had to get it situated. We want it to be 5.5. So I've put my 5.5 mark right here up in the corner of where this particular seam right here meets the 5.5. And then I also have my 45-degree line along here. And now I can come back and just trim these 2 sides. That will be 5.5. It's along the 45-degree line right there. That will give me a 90-degree angle here. There you can see I'm really not trimming off that much. All right, then I can turn it around so that my 45-degree line is still going this way. And then I can use my ruler along that 45-degree line, because this right here and this right here is at a perfect square 90 degrees. And I can use my 45-degree line here. And then if I put my 5.5 here, 5.5 here, then I'll be able to trim off any excess on this side. There we go. And again, I'm not trimming off a whole lot there. There we go. So it's perfectly squared 90 degrees on every side. This line right here is perfectly in the middle so that we have equal triangles on both sides, and there's a perfect triangle on this side. So there is a lot of trimming of half square triangles in this particular pattern, but that's for a reason. This is a beginner pattern, and it's meant to teach the foundational skill of half square triangles and trimming along that 45-degree line. It's all for a purpose. And then as you're trimming, you'll see that as you make this particular block, it creates mirror images. So you see how these 2 triangles are mirrored up in this one. So it's very important that you separate them. Now you can do this as you're trimming them, or you can do them later, but when you go to put your big block together, this particular block, you're gonna need to separate them out because you're gonna have block 1 and block 2. And these are mirror images of each other. And if you don't have them separated, you might not be able to put that together properly, and you're gonna get frustrated. Now this block is my BCE block. So I'm gonna turn this over, and I'm either going to write BCE on this block. Maybe you wanna use a Post-it, or you wanna use labeling tape. This is the time where labeling gets really important. If you don't label and perfectly match up the right 3 fabrics, your Woven Star block is not gonna come together perfectly, and your block won't mirror the right way. So make sure that you label perfectly in this step. Maybe you want to write on paper and pin it to that whole group or sandwich baggies or something. Now I'm doing the throw size of the pattern. If you are doing a child size, let me make sure to point something out for you. This week we're doing steps 5 through 16, and if you are doing child, you'll see that you're only doing these ones, 6, 9, 12, and 15, and then these other ones are for the throw and the king. So for instance, if you're doing a throw or king size, you're gonna do step 5, and then you're going to skip step 6, that's the child size, and you're gonna go to step 7 over here. If you're doing child size, skip step 5, that's for the king and the throw. Child size, you're gonna do step 6, and then you're just gonna go straight to step 7. And you're gonna do that same thing with all of these other half quarter square triangles. So this one you're doing B, C, and E. Step 8, you're gonna be doing C, D, B, and so on like that. Our pattern testers really agonized with me about how to lay it out. It's a little confusing. This is the best of what we came up with. So this week is steps 5 through 16. Once you get all that done, set it aside. You're gonna need a break. Come on back next week. We're gonna start laying out our big blocks and you're gonna start to see it come together.